Hey guys, it's Micah from edeneyetarot. I am here today to actually do a different kind of video. I've been planning this out for a couple weeks, and I'm excited to finally put it out there for you guys. I am here to do a compatibility video. I will say I don't know how this compatibility series is going to go as far as like organization goes. So what I'm going to say is that if you guys enjoy this video, put down in the comments what kind of combination you want me to do next, because I think that might be the easiest way to go, because I know if I try and keep it orderly and organized, then it'll just explode into chaos. So no matter how hard I try, because literally there are going to be thousands, probably thousands of combinations that we do in this series. And of course, we have, lots of time to do those, but I have the best intentions of being organized, but also I also am realistic, and I can see how this can go so wrong with me just trying to be organized, and it just kind of explodes in chaos. So if you like this video and you want to see more of these, go ahead and put down what combination you would like to see next in the comment section. So I got this idea to do this kind of video, one, because when I was learning astrology, I was, like kind of videos or whatever, like more of like a visual and audio kind of person. But the further I got into astrology, the more that I got really interested in compatibility. I think as every astrologer, no matter what your kind of expertise is, goes down the compatibility or synastry rabbit hole, like at some point. And I just kind of always stayed there. I really enjoy synastry, as well as looking at like asteroids and decans and things like that. Those three are really my jam. And when I was looking up compatibility videos on YouTube, I couldn't find any that were like extremely specific. I found like, Aries with Taurus, or Taurus with Pisces, or Gemini with Leo videos, but nothing that had like any further placements other than like the sun sign. And that always frustrated me that we really couldn't get into like any, or there weren't any videos that got into like real detail. And so while I will say that I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, like I'm not going to get into a whole chart, today, we are going to be going with a combination of sun, moon, rising for two charts, or two combinations for your sun, moon, rising, and talking about how those energies would interact together, whether it's a romantic relationship, a partnership, a friendship, or a family, kind of partnership. We are going to be talking about that. Now, if you did want to see me go full blown like into creating astro files or astro charts and interpreting those, I did actually start to do that on my TikTok, and maybe I'll it was a long series, so, or maybe I'll just like have to come out with another video that puts it all together. But I came up with a chart for two people that were in a romantic relationship. I'm sure that these two people's charts that I made up, I'm sure that they're out there somewhere. Maybe they're together, maybe they're not. But I started to read both their charts together and talk about probably how they met. What did they both do individually? What was their life like? What did they do for work? Probably things like that. And I came up with this whole like telenovela kind of situation with these made up charts. And so if you want to see that, let me know as well. I can make a video like where we're just going through that. I love that. I won't say a goal for my time that I enjoy doing. And so if it's something that you guys would like to see, please let me know. I would love to do that video if it's something that you'd be interested in. So let's get into the combinations for today for the sun, moon, rising. Keep in mind for synastry, you do want to look at more than just the sun, moon, rising when you're looking at two people. What I won't be going over today is like Venus and Mars or Juno, which are going to be some of the other moving parts that you want to look at when you're looking at synastry and how two people really affect each other or what they bring out in each other. And so you really want to look at that when you're looking at two charts of two people together. And so we are taking a look at the charts that I or the combinations that I decided to run with for this video are going to be a Taurus rising. We have two Aries suns. So both of these combinations have an Aries sun. But the difference is going to be that one has a Taurus rising, one has an Aries rising, and one has an Aries moon and the other has a Taurus moon. So those combinations are going to be one person has a Taurus moon, the other person has an Aries, the one has a Taurus moon, Aries sun, Aries moon. And then we have another person with an Aries rising, a Aries sun, and a Taurus moon. Jesus, that is going. I'm glad I have notes to kind of keep this all straight. So just to review, we have a Taurus rising, Aries sun, Aries moon, and then an Aries rising, Aries sun, Taurus moon. Okay, so for compatibility, let's kind of talk about them individually first. So we have the Taurus rising person. That means that, of course, Venus is going to be their chart ruler. Since we're not talking about Venus today, we can just say that overall, since Taurus is the ascendant and is representing the first house, this person's pretty laid back. They are going to be ambitious. They're going to be a bit more cautious. They are going to be a bit slower moving, even if they are an Aries sun. The first house is really the only house that talks about the person or the individual themselves, at least the way that I have been taught astrology. That is how I look at it. Of course, there's a lot more behind that statement and that I can't get into right now, but the first house is the only house that purely just talks about the person whose chart it is. Being that the first house is the house itself. So being a Taurus rising, they would also be just very sensual as well. And maybe someone that is very concerned with security, possibly, even more like financial security. Aries sun and Aries moon are going to be, that Aries sun and Aries moon are going to be in their 12th house, which is going to be the house that's a lot about seclusion or creativity. It can be about a house of like danger and, the divine and your connection with the divine as well. It can be the house of exile too, or banishment. And so it can be a lot of fun things. And so we're kind of getting this maybe loner vibe from this Taurus rising person, even though they're an Aries sun, and Aries suns on their own are very charismatic. And whether they decide to, do it on purpose or not, I think Aries sun people, most of the Aries sun people that I've met at least, have always been very social, or they're social because of like maybe that more energetic aspect of their personality, if we want to, which we are. And so with Aries sun, Aries moon, we're looking at somebody that's a bit more of a loner, or someone that's a bit more sensitive, on the sensitive side at the very least. And they're going to be a bit slower than the average Aries energy. They still have that Aries energy. They're still feisty. They're still someone that is going to really want to rise above, to conquer something, or to, speak up for what's not right, or, just to be that assertive kind of force between, those that maybe oppress them in their own kind of values. with the Aries rising and Aries sun, of course, all of that sun assigned is that Aries sun is going to be in the first house. And so all day. And I actually love this combination because we have that Venus energy represented by the Taurus rising and a whole bunch of Mars represented by the Aries sun. Now, Mars and Venus are opposite planetary powers. But I actually really like this combination because I see so much potential for it to work well, even though the rising signs are very different. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of room for this to go wrong and for them to rub each other the wrong way. But because there's, in this combination that I've chosen, there's a lot of mutual reception. There's a lot of places where it could go right. So here are some of the things that I see. You know, especially with the Aries rising person first, let's talk about that. Energetic, someone that is going to be, you know, very, I don't want to say competitive because I think that gets overused a lot when we're talking about Aries, but somebody that wants to pioneer things, they want to be, maybe someone that starts something new. It's Aries is a cardinal energy and it's a fire sign. And so it's all about sparking things off. It can be a self-starter. It can be, you know, very much of a go-getter. It can be ambitious, of course, but it's not so great at finishing things. However, with that Taurus moon, it can be very methodical. Not as methodical, I don't feel, as the Taurus rising, but I think it's kind of like half one way, a dozen another. I probably said that saying wrong, but they have some mutual things going on, you know, when it comes to starting and finishing things that they kind of complete when they come together with each other. But let's get into the compatibility. So one of the first things I kind of see with the compatibility with these two is going to be the fact that the Aries rising person, because they have that Taurus moon, they have this innate, unspoken kind of understanding of who the Taurus rising person is and the Taurus rising's like sense of self. Because that Aries rising has a Taurus moon, that means that the Taurus moon is going to be in the Taurus rising's first house. And so when you have one person's moon in your first house, the way I interpret that is that they are able to really feel into who you are without you really having to say it. It's almost like I get the picture of like almost like a parent. You know how parents sometimes say, I know you better than you know yourself? Like, and I can imagine like with this kind of combination, that probably gets annoying and probably rubs, you know, one or both of them the wrong way sometimes, I'm sure. But there can be this kind of feeling of, you know, understanding of who the person is, their motives, and, you know, how they appear in the world versus how they really are. And the Taurus moon person in this case, which is going to be that Aries rising, is going to be someone that really encourages the Taurus rising person to really, you know, be who they are. They're going to nurture their sense of self. And it's going to really nurture their potential. And so the Aries rising is really going to push the Taurus rising to get out of their comfort zone, go the distance and do the things. It's really, you know, and that's such an Aries rising thing to do, right? Is to kind of like push it forward, push out or like cut through the box, or like I'm even imagining the Aries rising, what they do for the Taurus rising person is they kind of like take a sword and they kind of cut through the stone of the cave that is the Taurus rising, and really helps them kind of see the light on the other end of the tunnel of what really, if they are a bit more dynamic, if they take maybe a bit of a different approach to achieving certain things, or, you know, how they present themselves. That potential through helping them change how they maneuver the world. And so we can also see the Taurus moon, or sorry, the Aries rising person can really help to be like a catalyst for change, like I was saying with the first house person. By like, and I do mean that like they can be a catalyst for change, not just by like changing how they perceive the world or how they present themselves, but it can also be a lot about like the moon is reflective. And so I guess this is a pro and a con. The moon person can very much, or the Taurus moon Aries rising person can be very much a person that is going to help the Taurus rising person really find maybe some kind of like dig down into maybe their subconscious and cut off certain unhealthy thought processes or affirmations that just really aren't helping them get to certain goals, and get down to the bottom of those, because that's what Mars energy does, right? It helps to kind of cut through things or cut things off and things like that. And where Venus energy is going to be more so about what makes you comfortable. It's about desire and what feels good, what tastes good. And so the Aries rising person in this case is going to almost do the opposite, and it's going to really help them because of that Taurus moon that they have, and that Taurus moon being in the Taurus rising's first house. They're really going to help them to really push to be a bit more reflective, and that can create a catalyst for change internally and therefore externally. The danger here, I feel like, is if they're changing for the wrong reasons. If the change or the reflection is not profound, and it's very surface level, and it becomes people pleasing. I think this can happen with either the Aries rising or the Taurus rising person, but I am going to say, for the sake of this video, it's more going to be on the Taurus rising person because they're the house person. So there can be this danger of the Taurus rising person changing for the Aries rising person. And I mean, like I said, it can be either one of them, but it can really be more so Taurus rising person, saying that, I'll change for this person rather than the other way around. And even that, I'm a bit hesitant to say, because it really could go either way. With that Taurus rising in particular, there is that stubbornness as well. An Aries rising and an Aries sun, even if they do have a Taurus moon, is going to be also just as open to maybe changing how they are going at something with another person. And so it could go either way. And so it really depends on what are the motives for change. Are they doing it from a deep personal level that will be very constructive to themselves and therefore secondarily to someone else, or are they doing it for someone else completely? The 12th house sun person. So we're talking in cases of the Taurus rising person. So the 12th house sun person is in the first house of the Aries rising person, which really speaks to like this deep understanding and unspoken bond between the two. And they keep each other really on their toes, which is combination as well. The chase never ends. There's always something to discover. With that Taurus rising sun being in the 12th, it's almost like something's constantly hidden from the Aries rising person. The Aries rising person being, all of that Aries energy in their first house. There's no shortage of things to kind of be curious about with the Taurus rising person. And so, and vice versa. The big thing with that combination as well, like I guess a con that I could see is that the Taurus rising sun may be a bit more sensitive. Like I was saying in the beginning, like Aries Sun, Taurus rising person can be a bit more sensitive than the Aries rising person would like, which could lead to some like explosive or like aggressive or maybe even like volatile kind of arguments, really intense arguments that I think can break out between these two. Maybe even, especially with that Taurus rising person being maybe a bit more passive aggressive. Or I could even see if this is a romantic relationship, maybe like them needing to take some time apart from each other. It might really facilitate some some cool, like some sort of cooling off period, since Aries is not really prone to holding grudges, but Taurus is, and they both have Taurus energy. Or like I was saying, if it's going to be a more of a romantic relationship, I could really see like anger, sex being a way of cooling 12th house for the Taurus rising. Some sort of desire in the bedroom that is kind of fueled by that heat. There is a lot of like sexual tension between these two if this is a romantic relationship. And so we can see a lot of that, or just needing time away from each other to kind of regain equilibrium and peace between the two. They can both be really excited by this sense of like competition or bickering in the relationship, and can or it can kind of just like manifest as like them both wanting to impress each other. I guess that's the nicer way. I guess that it could manifest as they both want to impress each other. It can become like this kind of pissing match, like, which is not positive, but I think like, if we're looking at pros and cons of how things can manifest, those are the two ways that I can see this combination kind of interacting with each other, as far as like undertones of why we're seeing some of the things that we're seeing with this relationship. We can see like that kind of energy, especially especially when it comes to the Aries rising person and how they view the Taurus rising person. The Taurus rising person will really appreciate the Aries rising person's like upfrontness, or like their frankness, or their ability just to be very honest. Both of these are very honest, but both of these combinations are very honest, but the Aries rising, Aries sun, Taurus moon is going to be a bit more upfront about things. The Taurus rising Aries is going to be honest, but they might take a little bit more time to think through what they're going to say. They're going to get more methodical about things, as far as like maybe how what they're thinking and how it actually comes out, because of that 12th house placement. Things are kind of up in their mind for a while, and they sit with their thoughts by themselves for a little bit longer than the Aries rising person does. So that is all I have for this combination today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know, and also comment down some of the combinations that you would like to see. If you want me to do another one of these videos, tell me if you have had any experience with the combinations that I did today, or if you have some of the same placements. I would love to hear it. But other than that, I will see you guys later.